This is Doc Williams with Brand Factor Inc., and we have the pleasure to be with who today?
My name's Tony Bacigalupo, and I'm working with the Sasha Group team here on the 4Ds Clouds and Dirt Challenge.
Tell me a little bit about the 4Ds in this challenge.
Sure. So Gary Vaynerchuk, incredible personality, so much knowledge to share, and he shares a lot of that for free. He shares a lot of that through his books. But when it comes to working with him and his team, basically there's only so many ways you can do it. And one of the ways that you can do it is through this program called 4Ds. It's a one-day, just incredible information overload boot camp in learning everything about the philosophy and the knowledge behind how Gary and his team do marketing for other people. So you could basically, if you're not going to pay his team to do it for you, you can learn how they do it and do it yourself. And so the 4Ds program gives you a way to learn that in one day, essentially. And so what you end up having is small groups of people who are coming through this program. They run it multiple times every month that are learning this material, and then they're joining a Facebook alumni group after the fact. And so now we have this slowly growing group of really incredible, dedicated, creative entrepreneurs that are all kind of at similar points in their journey, and that's where we're really finding some untapped potential.
So tell me about this Clouds and Dirt Challenge. So the 4Ds, they go to this for one day, they come out. So what was this challenge? What is it all about?
The challenge that I was presented with was, we have this group of over 400 incredible entrepreneurs. Right now, their only way that they interact is through this Facebook group and an occasional alumni event that we'll do, but we don't really have a lot of structured engagement for them. And we see so much potential in these people in terms of connecting them to each other, in terms of providing more value for them, that we want to find some way to engage them more after they've done this one-day event. And so what I came in to do was to understand who this community is, understand what their needs are, and find a way to provide them more value. And the way that I concluded we could do that was through creating some kind of a way for people to share what it is that they're trying to do and keep each other accountable and help each other through the challenges that come up as they go along the way. And so the way that ended up manifesting was through a challenge where we said, it's a basic goal setting and accountability structure where we take some time to understand what it is that everyone is trying to achieve. First of all, starting with what's your North Star, what's the purpose behind what you're doing, and then what's a particular kind of thing you might do or create as kind of an interim goal for a very finite period of time. And then what are the concrete steps you have to take between where you are now to get to that goal. And so there's that initial process of just figuring out where you're at and what you want to do. And then there's the middle part, which is let's work on it and let's check in with each other. And so we do these 7, 21, and 42-day check-ins. And so it's a 42-day program for the pilot program. We might make it longer in future versions, but that's kind of what we're working with now, where we check in a week later, pretty critical moment. Did you make progress? Did you hit a block? Whatever. And then 21 days and then 42 days in. So we all get to kind of see how everyone's doing, diagnose any challenges that are coming up, troubleshoot, celebrate successes, and then continue to move on from there. We'll use the Facebook group on the intervening weeks to just check in, asynchronously. And then at the end, we have what we're calling a showcase, which is a way for people to celebrate the fact that they did this program and to show off their successes or what they learned from their failures. And one of the things I found having run accountability groups like this in the past is that not everybody makes it. Not everybody does the goal they set out to do. And what I don't want is for people to feel shame, because there's actual tremendous value in learning why you're not doing the goal. And if we can face that and understand it and learn from it, then you could set yourself up to actually set a goal that you're actually going to achieve next. And so what we want to do is actually celebrate the successes and also celebrate the learnings from the failures. So if somebody said, I set a goal, I thought I wanted to do this, but then I kept not doing it, and I kept asking myself why, and I learned I actually don't even want to go this direction at all with my business. And I thought I did. My ego told me it was the right thing to do. People told me it was what I should do. So I was trying to do what everyone thought I should do, but I don't actually want to, and I learned that now. And now I understand that I actually do want to do this other thing. That could be life-changing. And it all came from the fact that someone failed to achieve their goal. So what we want to do in the showcase is acknowledge the people who have, achieved something one way or the other, and give everyone a chance to kind of show off. We've got some incredible, remarkable people in this group. And so just being able to see what they've been up to and how they've approached their problems and how they've worked to achieve their goals is just something that's going to be so valuable and so educational for everyone.
That's great. I can't wait. Now, tell me a little bit about your background and how this is the perfect, balance. It's just that bell curve. I just see what you've been up to through your career, and then this 4Ds event, and you creating this community. Tell me all about that. Tell me about your background and why this is perfect.
When I was working from home after college, I was working as a project manager for a web development firm, and I was losing my mind because I was stuck in my house all day. And I thought it was awesome because I didn't have to sit in traffic and go sit in a cubicle somewhere, but being at home by myself was just driving me mad. And I thought, wow, wouldn't it be great if there was a place I could go where I could work, but it wasn't like an office, but it wasn't my house, it's somewhere in between. This was 2007, and at the time, there was this thing called co-working, but it was only just getting started, and there were no co-working spaces in New York. There were places that were kind of starting to do this thing, but nobody had really taken the mantle of this kind of world of people who were working on laptops and Wi-Fi, which in 2007 was only just starting to hit critical mass. And so I did some research. I found a group that was meeting in the city in some guy's living room in a loft apartment, and I went and I worked in this guy's house, and I had the most incredible day where I met these incredible entrepreneurs, people who work from home, people who work for themselves, and I felt this incredible sense of belonging. And I felt this incredible sense of permission too, that I was amongst people who started their own business. At that point I was an employee. And so I just felt like this was something I wanted every day, and this was a path out of the old way of doing work that I felt didn't work for a lot of people. And so I dedicated myself to this new world of co-working, ended up taking up the mantle of starting a co-working space, and basically took charge to open what would become Manhattan's first co-working space, which was called New Work City. It opened in November of 2008, and it was this incredible journey for me as someone who was in my early 20s, had no money, had no entrepreneurial experience of any kind, but I had this passion and this dedication. It ended up becoming famous because co-working ended up becoming a big deal during that time. So we were in all the press, all the media, because we were the New York co-working space. And so we rode that media wave. This was pre-WeWork, and WeWork was just a little bit down the line from us. And along the way, I got more active in the global co-working community. So I started meeting people building these spaces all over the world. And in recent years, transitioned to helping other people build similar community spaces all over. And so over the course of the time, I've worked with thousands of people all over the world to build co-working spaces and other kinds of shared community spaces, really in every corner of the planet where there's a concentrated population of people who want to be on the internet together. And so that's been a huge part of my journey, is building that business, being around entrepreneurs, being around creative people, and learning how to foster community and a sense of belonging amongst all those people. For me, I feel like my motivation has always come from a place of finding and fostering belonging. It's something that has driven me from when I was young. I always had a hard time kind of finding my seat at the lunch table. I kind of floated from one table to the other, but I never quite had a table that was my table, And I think that that's just always been driving me for a long time, and I find that I'm, interestingly, far from alone in terms of being someone who's trying to find that belonging. And so what I've learned in the last 12 years or so is that there are a lot of ways for people to find and create belonging through community, through finding people who have some common interest, and then finding some way to gather around those people and open up and talk about what it is that you're trying to achieve. And that could be through fitness, it could be through coping with a difficult time in your life and sharing that with other people who are dealing with that same challenge. And when it comes to entrepreneurship, it's all about the fact that you are at the top of your little hill and there's no one else at that level in your world. And so, they say heavy is the head that wears the crown. It's lonely at the top. When you're the decision maker at your business, there's nobody else who appreciates the position that you're in your business, but there are plenty of other people who are in that same position in their own businesses. So when you put all the people at the top, head to head with each other, they all share a lot in common in terms of the challenges they deal with and just the unique perspective that they have. And so what I saw in this 4Ds program was an opportunity to create community in a sense of belonging amongst people who are very special, but who themselves each might feel a little bit lonely in terms of the challenges that they're trying to overcome. And so it's part of a larger narrative for me around just looking for those untapped opportunities to create a space for people to foster a sense of belonging with each other by finding the thing they have in common, opening up and being vulnerable and sharing the truth about what they're dealing with, and then working together on working to get better.